Good evening. My name is Robert Harris, and I'm a member of the Antelope Valley Delta cohort. And this is my assignment 3.1 for EDOL 722, The Danger of the Single Story. So many of you might not know, but I am from Belize, Central America originally. Definitely a third world country. Definitely faced with many challenges growing up. And so this was really an opportunity for me to reflect on some of those challenges, and I could definitely make some connections. So I look back at my high school experience, and there were definitely many obstacles that I had to face. The primary one was the fact that it was a track system, and so based on one exam, based on what's called the Belize National Selection Examination, you were basically tracked for either doing an industrial line of coursework, which you were planning on and preparing to be a farmer, construction worker, fisherman, those type of jobs. A commercial line of coursework where you're planning on being a secretary in one of the government offices, or some type of executive assistant in the private sector. And then there was the academic or science pathway, which I was fortunate to be a part of. And again, it was all based on one test. And so, for example, if you scored from the 90 percentile and above, you would get into the sciences and academic pathway, and so on and so forth as you move down all the way to the industrial pathway. Another fact is just the fact that many of us grew up without having even the basic commodities. There are many days when we couldn't really find anything to eat. Um, Clothes were tattered, shoes. I remember clearly having to use my fair share of duct tape to keep my shoes together as I went to school. And definitely just those small things that we take for granted so many times in America. Even having clean water wasn't always, something that's available. But that is one part of the story that exists and existed in my childhood and my growing up. Um, and it was definitely something that I think made me stronger and gave me a much different perspective than a lot of my counterparts have. Another part of my story is the fact that I had my grandmother that instilled in me the importance of never quitting and never settling for anything less than the best, and never giving anything less than your top effort, than your best effort. And all of those things, and all of those values that were instilled in me by my grandmother and by members of the community who had nothing to offer but insight and perspective. Those are the things that I feel like even until this day are really guiding me and helping me to uh, continue to pursue this path professionally, in my academic life, in my personal life, and they've really taken me to very far places. And so, whereas I think that story and the story of my growing up could have definitely resulted in much different path. There are those other parts that also need to be considered. And so I definitely can relate to the danger of the single story and the importance of making sure that all parts of the comprehensive whole that makes a person and it makes a society, all of those things are addressed.